Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about why you should stop playing Dungeons & Dragons online and you should start playing Dungeons & Dragons at a physical table. Alright, so over the last few years, there's been a huge rise in the number of people who are playing Dungeons & Dragons, especially 5th edition, online. And so what I'm talking about here are the games where you will see them on YouTube. Many of them are recorded through Hangouts, Google Hangouts. And basically, it's people getting together. Each person is in their own physical home, and they're gathering together, one game master, 3 to 6 to even 7 players. And they're all coming in from different physical locations, and they're using video conference to facilitate the game, okay? Now, there's many of these games, and actually, it is my opinion that there are more online games now than there are physical table games. I don't have the numbers on that yet, but I'll definitely take a look into it. But from everything I've seen, it's definitely the case. So here's why you should stop playing Dungeons & Dragons online. The reason you should stop playing Dungeons & Dragons online is, in my opinion, it is a betrayal of Gary Gygax's intent for the game. Dungeons & Dragons is really about friendship. It's about gaming, friendship, and literacy, okay? And now, when you are in a video game, when you are on an online Dungeons & Dragons game, playing with other online players, you are fulfilling the literacy part, because it's the same there. Everybody's read the rule book at the same level. I don't think there's any more people who play at a physical table who've read the rule book over those players who are playing online. But there's also and then there's so the literacy part is fulfilled. Certainly the gaming part is fulfilled, but and the part that is dropped is the friendship part. Okay, so when you are on an online game, you have an online friendship, right? It is a friendship in the same way as a Facebook friend, which is not real. It is a distanced relationship, and if one person needs help from the other person, it can be very difficult, if not impossible, for that person to do even the most menial tasks to help one another, right? To even just give somebody a hug or encourage them or smile at them one day. All the regular things that are involved in human interaction and in friendship. Those things can't be done when your relationships are physically separated, okay? So basically, I really believe that Dungeons & Dragons at its core is about gaming, it's about literacy, and it's about friendship. And when you're using the online part, you are removing that friendship part, okay? Now, I just want to talk about why people are turning to online games. I definitely understand it. When you go to an online game, there's a few things that one, I really feel you strongly lose 90 to 95% of that friendship element. People I know online and I don't know in the real world, the people who are most connected with online are not more important to me than the people who I might see one day a week in the real world and only be associated with. I have more, just as a human being, I have more interaction and connection and appreciation for those people that I physically know or that are within my physical proximity, just because at the end of the day, we are human beings, right? And we've had the internet long enough to now know, we all know what we can do. There's almost no limit to what we can do online. But we've reached a period where we need to start deciding what we should do, right? And so this is what I'm talking about. We should be playing at a physical table. So the reasons why people are turning to the online table is they're getting rid of the friendship part, okay? Or I would say they're throwing out 90 to 95% of the friendship aspect. And what they're getting in trade for that is it's much easier to meet. So you can, your physical space, it can be hard to get a physical space for a Dungeons & Dragons game. You need a table that will seat 4 to 6 people. You need a modicum of quiet, and you need and so that's important. Like, that physical space is difficult. When you're online, everybody just needs a chair and their laptop, and that's it. You're ready to go. Okay. The other thing that I think people are definitely trading, and this is important, is when you go onto an online game, you can get a much higher quality of players online than you can on your physical games, right? And the reason why is, worst case scenario, if you live in an area that does not have a gaming group or does not have a local shop, right, then what you're probably going to have to do is you're going to have 2 players who are terrible role players. But I do believe anyone who tries, gives, some level of effort, can scrabble together 2 terrible role players, and then you can meet at a food court. That's your worst game, right? You're meeting at a food court, 1 game master, 2 horrible role players, cheaters, people who just don't know the difference between gaming and metagaming. Terrible, right? All right, so, basically, when you go online, you don't need to deal with that. You can get extremely high quality players online. And the reason why is you have the world to pick from. You don't need to pick from the people who are within your local area. You can get, the best players there are. You can get an amazing player from California, an amazing player from Oregon, an amazing player from Maine, amazing player from Philadelphia, like all over, or Pennsylvania. And, you can pick and choose, right? So you can build an amazing group of players. But so those are the 2 advantages. Higher quality of player, much easier gaming to organize the gaming space. Those are the benefits, right? And what you're trading is you're trading friendship. And what I'm saying is this is a bad trade. It's a bad value for the community. It's a bad value for those individuals, and it's a bad value for society overall. So, and that's the stakes here, right? This is, I am calling game masters, dungeon masters, and players to put aside online games and return to the physical table. And what I'm saying is, take your 5 amazing players from all over the country, take your $100 headsets and your, perfect bandwidth, Google Hangouts, and being able to get together once a week without, fail, and have an awesome game. Trade that for a food court game, a game at your food court with 2 horrible players. And the reason why is that is a better game. It's better for us as a Dungeons & Dragons community. It's better for us individually, and it's better for us as a human society. And so that's what I'm saying, is that friendship far outweighs an easier game space, and it far outweighs the quality of players. And the reason why is Dungeons & Dragons is the best tabletop role-playing game that has ever been created, without a doubt. And Gary Gygax sacrificed a lot to bring us this game. And he was a genius, and he was an artist, and he was a wonderful human person. And he knew that this game should be about friendship. And many of us would never, ever give up the gaming part of the hobby, and many of us would never, ever give up the literacy part of the hobby, but we are giving up the friendship part of the hobby for convenience sake, and a higher quality of players at the table. And my point is that if you get terrible role players who are in your physical proximity, and you have a terrible physical space, you are doing something that means something to yourself. You're doing something that means something to our society, and you're doing something that means something to those players and to the Dungeons & Dragons community. You are increasing human interaction, and you are valuing friendship over more screen time and over more video content. And that is incredibly important. And the reason why I'm saying this to the Dungeons & Dragons community is we have no excuse. Dungeons & Dragons dungeon masters and players are a self-selecting group. Everyone who has played this game has embraced the idea that in order to play this game, you will read 900 pages of content. And many of us memorize huge swaths of that content. Dungeons & Dragons is self-selecting for incredibly literate, smart people. And if you are literate and smart enough to play Dungeons & Dragons, then you could certainly overcome the obstacles to pulling together a physical space to play the game at, and to find other physical players. And your neighborhood community, the community where you live, will be richer because of it. You will be richer because of it. Not richer monetarily, richer in soul and spirit and emotion. You know, just a richer human being overall. Rich, like at the end of a Christmas tale. You know, like, and it really is beneficial. Like, we have a divided society, and our hobby is perfectly placed to bring down divisions, and to put people together in a space where they can laugh and where they can be a real support to one another, where we can build memories together that are never forgotten. And when you have, you know, slayed 20 goblins together with your other players, it's a memory you guys are always going to remember. And when there are hard times, when hard times come, those people can be there for you. They can bring, you know, if you get sick, they can bring soup to your house. If you need to move, they can help you move. If your dog dies, they can just come over and hold your hand. You know, this game can do that. It can build relationships that are permanent and special and real. And we as a community, as the Dungeons & Dragons community, as smart, literate people, we need to be the first to return to valuing physical proximity of other human beings over the quality of thought and vocabulary and wit. You know, you can reach out to more interesting people on the internet, but for this special, pure, wonderful game, we really need to return to valuing humans who are in our physical space. And the reason why is the source of the game. That's the way Gary Gygax did it. He was there physically with his players. He, you know, Ed Greenwood and David Arneson and all the greats. He was right there with them, and they had real friendships. And they forged those friendships at a physical table. They ate Cheetos together. They drank Coke together. And they never forgot one another. And they were real friends. And that's what I'm calling the Dungeons & Dragons community to. Give up your online Dungeons & Dragons game and return to your physical table. And I promise you, 9 chances out of 10, it's going to be a worse experience, right? But it's more real, and it's more pure, and it's more valuable, and it helps everyone. Whereas, you know, trading friendship for an easier game, for an easier organization on game space, and for higher quality players, it's not worth it. So I'm just I love this game so much, and I see this change starting to happen in our community, and I'm calling everybody back. Give up your online game of Dungeons & Dragons and return to a physical table game of Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you.